Hi, this is Mato. In this video I will show the game between Boris Gelfand and Viswanathan. This is game 7 of World Chess Championship match that was played in Moscow in 2012. In this game Boris Gelfand had white pieces and he started with d4. Anand played d5. Players looked at each other, shook hands and agreed to a draw. And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. Just kidding. Game continued and it didn't end up in a draw. Let me put on my serious jacket and I will show you the game. Boris continued with c4, c6, knight to c3, knight to f6, e3, e6, semi-Slav defense. Knight to f3. Anand continued per usual with a6. And now, in games 2 and 4, Boris continued with b3. In the 6th game, he played queen to c2. But his choice was, in this game, c5. Knight from b to d7. Queen to c2. b6. Pawn takes pawn. In previous games, black captured with queen. Anand's choice was knight takes on b6. Bishop to d2 was played. White wants to play rook to c1 and apply pressure on c file and on c pawn. And Anand wants to get rid of his weak backward pawn, so he pushed it to c5. Rook to c1. And pawn takes pawn. Anand got rid of his backward pawn, but now white bishop is free to go to g5. Bishop to d6, bishop to g5. Anand castled. Bishop to d3. Threat is bishop takes knight, and then bishop takes on h7. h6, attacking bishop, bishop to h4, bishop to b7. Boris castled, and very interesting move from Anand, queen to b8. Another way to continue was bishop to f4, attacking rook, and after rook from c to d1, knight from b to d7, adding more protection to knight on f6. But Anand's choice was queen to b8. White can take knight on f6. Boris played bishop to g3. In the interview after the game, journalists asked him why you didn't take that knight on f6 and double the pawns. Boris explained that black would play rook to c8 and then bishop to f8 and to g7, then black would be okay. Yeah. Also now looks like that h6 isn't protected at this position, but queen to d2 doesn't work because of bishop to f4. Okay. In the game bishop to g3 was played. Rook to c8. Pinning knight, queen getting out of danger zone, and also queen will support knight jump to e5 and maybe f4, and queen is stopping black knight jumping to e4. Bishop takes bishop. Boris captured toward the center. Queen to d6, improving position of the queen and connecting rooks. Rook to c2. Boris wants to double rooks on c file. Knight from b to d7. Rook from f to c1. Rook from a to b8. Knight to a4. And Anand played knight to e4. According to Peter Leko, who was commentator of the game, that is wrong move. Ambitious and wrong. Leko said that taking rook is better, and after rook takes rook, then to play knight to e4, and black would be okay. In the game, knight to e4 was played. Rook takes rook, and now Anand had to capture with bishop, because if he takes with rook, he loses a pawn. Then rook takes rook, bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, queen takes pawn, and white is a pawn up. So Anand captured the bishop, and Boris played queen to c2. What's wrong with taking knight now? If bishop takes, then pawn takes, queen takes, bishop to b7, and black would have compensation, because after queen to e3, bishop to c6 looks like the strongest move. While the live game was going, commentators Karpov and Leko were commenting that after bishop takes and pawn takes, rook to b4 would be very strong for black, and they started talking about something else, but this is not that good for black. Yes, rook is forking knight and pawn, but white can continue like this. Check. King can go to h7 or can be defended with knight. And now queen to a3. And if queen takes on d4, then knight to c5, just showing one variation. Then queen takes queen, rook takes knight to d7, and white is winning. Okay, let's go back to the game. Queen to c2 was played, and now looks like that bishop to b7 was the best move. Then Boris wouldn't be able to continue with his plan, queen to c7. He would have to play something else, maybe knight to c5. Okay, in the game, Anand played g5, and journalists asked him after the game in the interview, is this a bad move? And he said, in bad position, every move is bad. Boris continued with queen to c7. Let's go back. If bishop goes to b7, why queen to c7 is not good? Because of this continuation. Rook to c8, and if queen takes queen, then check, and after king to h7, knight takes queen, and black is better. Okay, in the game g5 was played, and now queen to c7, queen takes queen, rook takes queen, and white rook is extremely well placed on the 7th rank. Anand would like to play knight from d to f6, but then Boris would play knight to e5. To stop that, Anand played f6. Now Boris captured knight, pawn takes, knight to d2, attacking pawn, f5, knight to c4, knight to f6, knight to c5, knight to d5, attacking rook, rook to a7, knight to b4. It looks like that rook and knight are attacking pawn on a6, but this is a sideshow. What white really wants to do is he wants to capture that bishop on c8. In the interview after the game, both players agreed that the problem in Anand's position was that light squared bishop. Okay, knight to e5 was played, knight to c2, attacking pawn on d4, making room for rook to attack pawn on b2, knight to c6, attacking rook, and rook can't stay on 8th rank. Anand captured pawn on b2. Now there is two ways to continue. Rook to a8 and rook to c7 are both winning. Rook to b1 check, king to h2, e3. Now Boris is not taking pawn. He captured bishop. This is check. King to h7. Check again, sending king back to 8th rank. And now, not taking pawn, Boris did his calculations and decided to checkmate black king. So he played knight to e5, e2, knight takes on e6, and in this position Anand resigned. He can push pawn and promote it to queen. Queen is dressed up and nowhere to go, because there is checkmate in 2 moves. There was another way to continue, but it doesn't help. So this is another way. Check, and after king takes, check from queen, but black would have to sacrifice his queen for knight and is in a lost position again. That's why at move 38 Anand resigned. After 7 games, Boris has 4 points and Anand 3. If I tricked you at the start of the game with my little joke and made you laugh, I'm happy for that. And that is all. I wish you good luck with your chess, and bye for now.